Chapter 15, Getting Sieged by Lawyers. Miss Stewardess raised the other high heel in his hand, and not giving a shit about her lady image, she started swearing right away. I didn't even deal with you yet, why are you forcing me to move? I rarely get breaks from flying, but when I finally got some days off to come home and nap, it turned out that my keys can't even open the door anymore. Then, the management came over with some stinky money and told me that the usage rights of this entire floor were bought out by someone. So, it was you. I really want to slap you to death with a pile of money. Su Cheng bitterly smiled. I just prefer a quiet environment, sorry. I heard from the management that you weren't really short on money, so it should be pretty easy for you to find another condo unit like mine, right? Or, you can also go to a hotel. Yes, I did indeed buy out the entire floor, and I also don't know you. As you can already see, the 4 units that were originally on this floor are all connected now, and cohabitation is impossible. Su Cheng said as he took out the stack of money he picked up yesterday and said, here's the compensation for the breach of contract that the management wanted to give you. Look, I picked them all up. Here you go, not 1 bill less. The stewardess pouted her ruby lips. She was a bit surprised that Su Cheng actually picked up all the money that she threw on the floor that day. Her face looked better, and she glanced at Ran Jing before asking Su Cheng again, is she living with you too? Su Cheng nodded. She couldn't find a place to live right away, and she agreed to take care of the chores around the house, so I told her to live here for the time being. If that's the case, then I don't want to move out for the time being too. With her here, I feel a lot safer as well, the stewardess said. Su Cheng said unwillingly, the rent contract is decided by me, and I don't want to live with other people. The stewardess pointed at Ran Jing. You can even live with her, how come just not with me? I have 1 month off, so I don't want to waste time moving places. I'm staying here for this month. Su Cheng replied, you can go to a hotel too. The stewardess glared back. I'm picky about beds, okay? Just then, Su Cheng's phone began ringing again. He took a look and left right away. We will talk about this when I come back. The repeated calls were driving him crazy. After Su Cheng left, the stewardess smiled and reached out her hand. I'm Shen Yao. Ran Jing also felt a bit bad assuming Shen Yao's career, so she shook her hand. Ran Jing. I think we should team up, do you know much about this man? I really admire your courage to actually agree to live with him, Shen Yao sat on the sofa and said, with a cushion in her arms. Ran Jing said nonchalantly, I'm a police officer, what am I afraid of? If I'm a guy, seeing your pretty face, I would commit the crime even if you were the queen, Shen Yao laughed and said. This guy's character isn't bad, Ran Jing said. At least in comparison to those men that only know how to sweet talk. Besides, he doesn't seem to be interested in me. That's just the smoke screen. Shen Yao pouted as if she could see through all the men on the planet. I have flown across the globe and seen all kinds of men. Princes, businessmen, officials, I've served them all before. How the men act on the surface and what he's thinking, nothing can trick my eyes. Ran Jing sat down and joined the chit-chat. Then do you still intend to stay? Shen Yao replied, I've lived here for 3 years now, and I'm serious about being picky about beds. I won't be able to get a good night's sleep if I sleep on another bed, and I don't want my holidays to be ruined from poor sleep quality. Just at that moment, hearing the sound of a plane taking off by the high-rise balcony, Shen Yao cheerfully ran to the balcony and looked at the plane as it gradually disappeared into the skyline. On the other side, the police station couldn't get more chaotic with all the lawyers sent by the families to represent the young masters. The director just shut the door to his office and didn't want to deal with the lawyers, praying that the door and his ears could last until Su Cheng came back. He also received a call from his higher-up. This wasn't exactly a big problem, nor was it a small problem. If the station could provide a good explanation, then someone would have to take the blame and be put on leave for a few months to shut the mouths of the forces behind these young masters. Up until now, no one wanted to step up to claim the responsibility, and everyone at the bureau was waiting for Su Cheng's return. Since the keys to that cell were taken away by Su Cheng, the bureau had to find a welder to open the door and let everyone out. However, the stainless steel door did get opened, but the young masters inside seemed to have come to some sort of agreement. They just sat in there and refused to come out, no matter how crowded it was inside. Young Master Yun gestured for his lawyer to go in, and after whispering a few words into his ear, the lawyer nodded. The lawyer then came out and said to the policeman at the station. My client was wrongly treated. If you cannot provide a reasonable explanation, then we will be seeing you in court. The director heard this in his office, and he bitterly smiled at the instructor. Are you deliberately trolling me? Why would you let a newbie go on a night shift? If all these young masters sue us, can we even handle it? It's your fault for letting Su Cheng out, you go out and apologize to them to calm them down a bit. Director, what use will that serve? Those people are clearly out to get Su Cheng. Look at them cooperating with their lawyers. The director looked at the bitching lawyers from the office window, he really wanted to just go out and kick their asses. When Su Cheng finally came in, almost every police officer looked over at him with admiration, their eyes basically saying things along the lines of, Bro, how can you be this awesome? Why are you not in heaven yet? After Su Cheng arrived, those young masters immediately jumped up, pointing at him and yelling, That's the ass face. That's him. Those lawyers were like sharks smelling blood, and they immediately surrounded Su Cheng. Please give my clients and I an explanation, why were they detained? They are even injured. Although you are a police officer, we also have the right to defend our rights. Su Cheng pushed away the lawyers, walked to the cell, and laughed at the young masters. Don't want to come out? Young Master Yun sneered, and not afraid of stirring shit up even more, he shouted without fear, so police officers can arrest us at will and beat us up. Su Cheng, I didn't beat you up. If there were injuries, they were caused by your resistance during the arrest process. You can't blame me for that. The lawyers came over. What reason do you have to arrest my client? The crime of affray, refusing to cooperate, and insulting police officers. Actions like spitting on officers severely disrespect the police. At the time, I even have the right to shoot and enforce the law. The lawyers replied nonchalantly, Those are just your words, why do I feel like what you said was different from what I heard from my clients? Su Cheng replied, My colleagues who were at the scene last night can testify. Young Master Yun ridiculed, Since you already said they are your colleagues, can their words count? Who knows if you guys will cover for each other? The other young heirs also backed him up, Yeah, that's right, we were the ones arrested and beaten, I feel like our side of the story makes more sense. Not everything's up to what you say, and we have doubt in your ability to properly enforce the law.